our firm was founded in 1957 in Chicago, and at that time we were primarily involved with German Expressionism and Surrealism. Then we began to take on some Chicago artists representing them, and I've always been involved in the sort of classic 20th century artists, and we also went into Impressionism and so on. The one thing that we've done from the beginning is try to deal in things that have both an institutional and a private market. I encourage people to buy things of museum rank, so they're not simply regional in nature or limited to decorative qualities. But I've always been interested in art that essentially made statements that hadn't been made before. I believe in art that artists that take risks and look through the windshield rather than the rearview mirror, looking forward rather than backward. So essentially we deal in art all the way from 1300 to now. The only thing we don't do is I don't represent any living artists anymore. Basically I'm a collector, and I'm really a collector in dealer's clothes. There are a lot of dealers out there in collector's clothes. So you have a lot of people who are a certain number of very successful dealers who pretend to be collectors, and therefore have certain prerogatives. People don't feel they're trying to sell them anything, therefore they're approached by people who want to buy what they have, but basically their instincts are as dealers. Mine are really as a collector. So if I buy anything for our firm, I buy it as if I would like to buy it for myself. I'm just, maybe I don't have enough money at that time to keep it, but I buy it with that spirit. And by the same token, that's the way I advise our clients. They don't have to limit themselves simply to what they hear is trendy or is popular or is going to get more valuable, or whatever these forces were that were at work during these years of over-leveraging. Now, we may be finished with the over-leveraging. The bubble may have popped on a lot of these overvalued contemporary artists. In any event, I'm not interested in what really people want. I like to tell them what they ought to want. So I don't listen to what I hear are the trends. If they want Jeff Koons, or they want Damien Hirst, or they want Andy Warhol, fine. But I personally don't mean to cater to those wants, which are based on what they hear, not what they see. And in that sense, I haven't made mistakes. My mistakes come when I start trying to buy things that I think somebody's going to want because I think there's a client for it. And I'm using my head, not my gut, and when I use my head, I make mistakes. I have to use both of them, but the gut has to prevail. I have to like it, I have to think it's an exciting work of art, otherwise I make a mistake. What we're seeing now is very, very high prices for significant art, and very little of it coming on the market. And I believe that this business will basically die within the next quarter of a century, simply because our problem is not demand, it's supply. We have a diminishing supply of significant art. And the reason for it is that starting about like 20, 25 years ago, art became monetized by the banks, by the financial institutions, and by the press. So they became convinced, and then convinced the world that this was a viable option, another asset class, a place to park money. Now once that happens, the floodgates to money coming into the market open. Before that, it was basically considered a luxury. And someone, no matter how much money they've got, there's a limit to how much they'll spend on a luxury. But once you convince them that this is a valid place to put money, there's no limit. And particularly right now, when you've got currencies are very, very volatile. People don't have faith in the dollar. They have a printing press going on down in Washington with unlimited power to print money. And they go into the market, they buy government bonds, and the bonds, all the bond interest can do is rise as our needs for money increase in the future. And we only are at the whim of our creditors, how much interest they're going to demand to lend us money. But eventually we're going to have inflation. And therefore, people are reluctant to sell a painting. I can't go to somebody now and say, look, I'll give you $1 million for this painting. I'm giving them 1 million pieces of green paper. And they're saying to me, what do I want with your green paper? People don't know where to put the money. So for me to go and say, I'll give you $100 million for your Matisse, they're going to say, what do I want with your dollars? I'll keep my Matisse. So people are holding things back off the market. Good things are not coming onto the market very frequently. And furthermore, museums are proliferating all over the world. Shanghai, Beijing, Qatar, Abu Dhabi, plus every museum, every city in the United States has been building a building. They've been doing little purchasing of art, only building all over the country with walls. I don't know how they're going to possibly find things to put on. So the demand increases arithmetically. The supply diminishes. And eventually, this business I'm in will not exist. Right now, I don't know of a better place for me to leave whatever money I've got is in the art. And therefore, when things I have in my own home, I don't want to sell them, because what am I getting? Pieces of paper, and then I don't know what to do with it. Where do I put it?